Matheson for double coverage. The Week 5 preview for Friday night. There's a ton of games on Friday night. We got 5, 6?
Sure.
6 games on Friday night, so bear with us. We're going to get right through them, though. But let's start right up in going all the way up north. 7 p.m. kickoff Friday night. Scotts Valley coming off a bye from last week, and they're taking on Vacaville Christian.
Nice.
Vaca who?
Road trip, cow
Road trip.
tipping. That should be fun.
This game was a fill-in game because the whole St. Francis thing, St. Francis going independent.
Yeah.
They lost that game, so they picked up Vacaville Christian.
Yeah.
2-2, the Vacaville Christian Falcons are.
Yeah. I feel like they're facing St. Francis, quite honestly. You know, it's a smaller team.
I mean, they're not,
The team that really hasn't...
about 25 guys in Vacaville Christian.
Yeah. And they have some size, but I just feel like Vacaville Christian, hasn't played a whole lot, in terms of, most of their teams have had losing records last year. Their best opponent probably this year has been Bradshaw Christian,
Sure.
Seemingly, and they're coming off a loss to Golden Sierra. So they've lost 2 in a row.
Lost 2 in a row. They're under first-year coach Booker Guyton, who you spent 9 years as the offensive coordinator at Sac City. They like to run the ball from what we've seen. Yeah. Brody Lambert, sophomore running back. He's gotten at least 2 touchdowns each game so far, so he's got, I think, 6 or 7 in the year. I think he had a receiving touchdown early in the season. And their quarterback, Devin Villarreal, another sophomore. They got 2 sophomores kind of running the offense right now. Lost 2 games in a row. Scotts Valley's coming off a bye. They're healthy.
Yeah. 2 sophomores, that's great for the future, but I don't think it's great for this weekend.
No.
The Battle of the Bulge is going to be won by Scotts Valley. They have some big boys, too. I know Vacaville Christian has some big boys, but not the numbers that Scotts Valley has up front. That's probably the Scotts Valley's deepest area, I would think.
Sure.
With all the returners. So I like the Falcons in this game.
Yeah. Jake Remberg leading the county right now in the rushing. Willie Johnson not far behind.
Yeah, 5 touchdowns each.
Yeah, I looked it up. I think Renberg's averaging like 11, 12 yards a carry. Yeah. And you're like, oh, that's only one guy. Throw in Johnston, combined, they're averaging 9 yards. And there's no drop-off.
Yeah, and there's a team that can also pass a little bit. So
yeah.
And I like the way they play D.
You like Scotts Valley Falcons?
Scotts Valley Falcons.
Scotts Valley Falcons. Step on the slate. San Lorenzo Valley looking to snap a 4-game losing streak right now. And they're going to be visiting Harbor on Friday night. Harbor looking to get a win. Snap a 5-game losing streak.
Both teams. They're hungry.
Both teams looking good on the winning schneid.
Sure. Whatever. Your lingo's far different from mine.
Trying to get off the schneid.
Yeah. They haven't had a game this exciting at Harbor, for these 2 teams since 2000 when they were playing for the league title. But this time it's polar opposites, trying to get their first win, trying to get out of the cellar.
Trying to build something, basically.
But this really should be a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
Fairly
equivalent teams right now.
Yeah. SLV's super banged up.
A little bit, yeah.
Last
week, Isaac Newberry did not play. Patrick Primo stepped in, though, and was pretty solid. 159 yards passing and a touchdown.
Yeah.
12 of 19 for his varsity debut.
Every single week, it's been the same 2 guys for these 2 teams. Mac Hesson, the wide receiver for Harbor, and Shell Johnson for SLV.
Yep.
And even though they're, just those guys taking over games, a lot of teams haven't been able to stop them.
Yeah. And Shell Johnson only had 6 attempts last week, and he ran for 222 yards. Expect him to get the ball more, I think, against Harbor.
No, that speed is unparalleled.
And you mentioned Hesson. Hesson has the receiver. He has more than 100 yards receiving in 3 of the 5 games so far this year.
Yeah.
Milo Small has already eclipsed 1,000 yards passing. He's leading the county in that area pretty easily.
Yeah. SLV's defensive secondary will be tested this week, but I think they'll come up smelling like roses, so to speak. They've shown in the past they could play some good pass defense. Yeah. I know they've been lit up a few times this year, but against Harbor, I think they'll be able to have a little bit more of a pass rush than they've been able to show to a lot of teams this year.
Well, Altos was able to kind of pick them apart in that third quarter, underneath, short, in the flat type stuff. And I'm wondering how that's going to develop, I guess, against Harbor, because obviously Harbor's going to be throwing the ball. Yeah. That's what they do best. Where are we leaning?
We're leaning to the far corners of Felton with the Cougars.
Yeah?
In the road game, yeah.
I was leaning that way a little bit too. I think it'll be interesting to see who starts a quarterback for SLV. Yeah. Obviously, Newberry, gives them a little bit more.
Totally.
But Primo was fantastic, I thought.
Even though SLV is super young up front, they're still physical. Even though they're super undersized, so is Harbor.
Yeah.
I just think they're going to win the line battle a little bit, and and just get her done.
SLV. Next up on the schedule, MVC 0-1 in the Gavilan Division, visiting Monterey High. 0-1 in the Gavilan Division.
Yes.
7:30 p.m. in Monterey, which means anyone going to this game, you're going to experience those wonderful gas-powered lights that they have that are super loud and take about 2 to 3 years off your life.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Bring one of those masks. Wow, another good game.
Yeah.
Seriously, after weeks of blowouts, majority of the times, it just seems like this could be a super-duper one as well. And there won't be many of these for Monte Vista Christian in this league, I feel, personally. With the Palmas and Hollisters out here.
Yeah, I mean, it only gets harder.
But this is a winnable game for them.
I think so. Monterey, of course, what they always do. They run the ball. They pound it between the tackles.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to be doing. Carter Aldretti is their dual-threat quarterback.
Yeah.
Not considered he's considered more of a running quarterback. However, last week against Palma, he threw for 3 touchdowns and 132 yards.
Their run sets up their pass.
Sure. So. And it was a 26-21 loss to Palma. Which is nothing to slouch over.
What about their PG loss? I mean, they're playing the good teams tough.
35-21 loss to PG. Yeah. So, I mean, 2 losses to 2 really good teams, but close losses, obviously.
And we saw what they did to a bad team in Burton of San Francisco.
Yeah, 69-0, and they have a forfeit win over Gridley, so they're 2-2. Yeah,
they're always big up front. They will run well, but will they play defense? I know that Monte Vista will do its best job to stretch Monterey. Mm-hmm. They'll be able. They've shown the ability over the course of the season to pass a little bit, to run at quarterback, and to run in the backfield and play some defense.
They're extremely balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the past they've always been like, they're a passing team, but this year they have about 561 yards passing, and they have about 535 yards rushing. So they're keeping it right down the middle. And I kind of like how they're able to do both things. I mean, Monterey is more or less a run-first football team, so...
Yes. They normally have some good wills in the backfield there, too.
Yes, and some physical, meaty guys,
and they've always made, as they should, a quality, skilled quarterback, a dual-threat guy. Mm-hmm. That guy's always been there at Monterey over the years from JV on every level.
Yep.
So I'm just saying this is definitely no pushover, not to,
Well, what are you kind of leaning towards right now?
It really is a coin flip, but I feel like I have to go Monte Vista this week just by... they played well last week.
I am going to agree with you. I thought this might be the one we were going to differ. No, I think with Monte Vista, I mean, the Brandon Boyd thing with Gilroy, I mean, I feel like that's a little more of an aberration than anything. Yeah. I mean, the kid's legit. Yeah. That's why he was able to run for 300 yards. I don't know if Monterey's going to be able to do that, but I think that I've seen a lot of improvement from MVC's rush defense week in and week out. They had a good bounce-back game last week against Salinas where they were kind of pleased with how they played. Yeah. I think they're going to take that next step. I think this might be their win. Next up on the schedule, the Aptos Mariners, 3-2. Taking a visit over to Santa Cruz High. And 1-0. Yeah. Taking a visit over to Santa Cruz High, where the Cardinals are looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. Is this the week they do it?
Well, they do have a couple things working in their favor, I think. Yeah. They lost last week to SoCal for the stump. They'll be a little drained off that, but they're playing at home. That's 1. And 2, they passed well last week. I'm holding up 3 fingers. And 3, I'll give 3 then. I also thought they tackled pretty well last week. Okay. Quite honestly.
All right.
But other than that, Aptos has so many weapons. They put up a 60 spot last week, again a 63-20 win over Harbor. Yeah. I think Aptos is fully gunning to get another 60 spot.
Really?
Yeah, and I think they're capable of it too. It'll be really interesting to see if Santa Cruz can match Aptos' speed. I know that they say they have speed, but once it gets to the exterior, can that cornerback catch up to a guy downfield out of safety come over? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who really is the faster team.
Yeah, and last week, I mean, obviously, Santa Cruz likes to run the ball.
Yes,
and SoCal limited them last week to 66 yards rushing on 29 attempts. So they went passing the ball, and you mentioned Drake Fennelly kind of throwing for a career high. Yeah. By the way, I looked it up. It was a career high by about 133 yards, I think. So easily a career high for Drake. So kudos to him last week. I'm wondering how that develops though, and if they use that again.
Yes.
If they're shutting down one aspect, you go to the next and see if it stretches the field a little bit.
That's the thing. I don't think Santa Cruz wants to get in the passing game here.
They want. I mean,
they want to kill the clock and keep the ball in Aptos' hands.
Yeah, what they do well is run the ball. Yeah. So but if the team is going to be stacking the box, you got to look to other options. So I'm interested to see. I mean, because it's going to take a perfect game to beat Aptos.
Totally.
And it's probably going to take more than just running the ball.
Well, this is the thing.
They're going to need, if they're going to win this game, they're going to need Fennelly again to kind of shine a little bit.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just that. It was, Jeff McCormick, the offensive coordinator, stretched things out. He mixed things up. Early on, there's been a lot of underneath passes, this and that, and fly offense. And when he tries to stretch the field, it's a different team.
Yeah.
And I think the players enjoy busting a big play, too.
Sure.
But it just seemed like they had a lot more downfield strikes. But granted, he's got to set that up with the run, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not telling him how to do his job. I'm just saying,
No.
when one thing works, it depends what's going. They need to play defense this weekend.
Yes.
And they really need to mix it up on offense.
Yes. I mean...
And avoid stupid fumbles, 4 of them last week, and stupid penalties.
You're going with Aptos?
I am going with Aptos.
It's going to take a lot, but I'm going to pick, for Santa Cruz to win, so I'm going to pick Aptos as well. Next up, Pajaro Valley, still looking for that first league win. They are taking on Everett Alvarez over in Salinas at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night. Alvarez 4-0 for only the second time in school history. They won last week as well over North Monterey County.
Yeah.
They are a run-first football team. PV did not do very well against the run last week against North Salinas.
Did you feel like a couple weeks ago when Soquel played Seaside Tough, you're like, wow, that was the game of the week? That really was surprising to me. Yeah. Last week, their loss to North Salinas, Pajaro Valley's loss to North Salinas just kind of blew me away.
On a different end of the spectrum, unfortunately. Yeah.
I really thought that they were better than that. And I still believe they're better than that.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to give a much better showing to Alvarez this week.
I think so, too.
Will they be able to stop Cesar Ramirez or quarterback Edric Gamble? I don't know. I like Alvarez. They're playing at home. Mm-hmm. It looks like they're having a career season, a banner season, one of those rare once every 10 or 20 years type seasons.
Sure.
But, I don't know. I really want to see something out of PV this week.
North Salinas, though, is a little more balanced than Alvarez, I think, is. Alvarez is going to run the ball. Yeah. I think they have about 1,000 yards total so far this year, and about 950 of them are on the ground. Yeah. So, they're going to be... they're not. I don't think they're as heavy as Soquel is, but they are going to be running the ball. I think that helps PV a little bit to maybe focus on defending that one aspect, especially.
Yeah.
You mentioned Gamble. He's their guy right now behind the quarterback. He's more. He can throw a little bit, but he's more of a running quarterback.
They're so Soquel. Sorry, they're so Soquel. Like 25 attempts this year, so they're going to sneak one over the top, and it could be a.
No, they can throw. Yeah. No, but I think that helps. The fact that they're not as balanced as North Salinas is.
But you really have to stay awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, PV gave up 245 yards rushing alone to North Salinas. So you mentioned a bounce back. I think I see the same thing a little bit. Does it equal a win, though?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are we going to agree again?
Are we?
I like Alvarez. They're playing at home and they're having a great year.
Okay. I'm going to go with PV, though. I think
I suckered you into your pick. Nice.
And the sixth and final game on Friday night, North Monterey County, winless. North Monterey County. Visiting Watsonville High, 7:30 p.m.
QB-less.
Yeah, leaning towards that.
So
looks
they're winless.
Like, yeah.
This is going to be another good game. I swear, another one that I really can't call.
Well, Nick Carrillo got knocked out last week. We don't know the status of him officially. It didn't look good, though, last week. But, hey, Marvin Scott came in through a 68-yard touchdown to Oscar Gonzalez.
Sure.
So, who knows how much... How good Scott might be, but, obviously he's capable if he's throwing 68-yard bombs. So... yeah, but the question is obviously at the quarterback position for Watsonville.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know a whole lot about North County. They're a run-heavy team.
They usually have good size up front, traditionally, and they run first. Josh Garnett's their man.
Looks like they're playing okay defense against their opponents, but once again they are 0-5.
Yeah,
and they're obviously having some trouble putting some points on the board.
Sure,
3 times or less in 3 different games they've had a touchdown or less.
Yeah,
so. Well, that bodes well for Wattsville staying in this game because they could play a little defense, I think.
Yeah, and they did well. 2 weeks ago against SLV, obviously getting that defensive stand at the end. The question is obviously the quarterback, but I don't know. It's going
to be like a crazy 18-17, 18-16. I don't even know the math on this stuff, but
like a weird safety thrown in there.
Totally. I just see that happening. I don't know how banged up Watsonville is in the backfield. I didn't get to see last week's game. If if they had Rocha back or, I'm worried, but also hopeful that Watsonville being the home team can pull through here.
Yeah.
if they play their game, if they're healthy, I like them in a rolling,
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a lot closer game than people think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to have to still go with Watsonville.
Sure. No, even if Carrillo's out, I still like Rocha stepping up. I still like Azevedo stepping up. I think they still have the backs in the backfield to carry them through and take it to North Monterey County. I'm picking Watsonville as well. That does it for our Week 5 Friday preview edition of Double Coverage. We just did 6 games. Hopefully you liked them all. Hopefully you liked our picks.
Yeah.
Chances are you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll have a Week 5 Saturday preview as well for those 2 games, St. Francis and Cabrillo and SoCal. Check us out online. Twitter, Tout, Facebook, Google app, iOS app.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. We are everywhere.
But mainly we're at the Santa Cruz Sentinel.
.com.
/.
Football.